Happy Monday.
Hi. It's a busy one today, which is great because that means that we are doing what we love and we are making money, which I like. What do you got going on, Alexia?
Yeah, so far I had one consultation virtually. I'm about to go do a closing, and then we have another consultation after my closing, and then I have one more closing after that. What do you have going on?
So, I had to meet someone to notarize some documents for them. I was supposed to have a consultation, but it got canceled Friday or Thursday, which is fine because I already had a lot more going on. So I have a consultation that Alexia will be joining me for. It's in Spanish. I also have a client call. She lives a little far, so she can't come in. So we're going to do a virtual meeting for that. And then I have another client coming in who's a pro bono client for her consultation. It's an elderly person who I'm helping with legal aid. That'll be exciting because it's estate planning. I never get pro bono people for estate planning, and that's something that I'm excited about. I also have a client who I started working with. When we first opened the firm, something with the pandemic and the mail has been slow. So I just received something from court last week. I called the lady. She doesn't live in North Carolina, and I guess that same day she did what I asked, and I received her stuff today. So now I have a very quick turnaround to send everything that she sent me to the courts. Had her send it to me so I can make sure it was right if we needed another one before I sent it. So I gotta get that done. I gotta work on an inventory for an estate that I told y'all that I've been putting off. I have until July, but I just need to be done with it. And I need to start preparing for court on Wednesday. So it's a lot, but it's a lot of stuff that I like. And I get to help Alexia reconcile. It's my favorite thing.
Twice today.
Yes, twice. So I'm excited about that.
Actually, with the refinance, one of them is a refinance. We don't have to do
easier.
the reconciliation until a couple days later because the borrower gets a waiting period to change their mind. So we'll probably be doing that on the 14th. When is that?
The 14th is like Friday is Friday.
So we'll be doing the reconciliation for that on Friday.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yep, we'll check in later.
Bye.
Hey y'all, just updating y'all on the closing. The closings went great. There was a regular purchase and then there was a refinance. Both of them went pretty smoothly. I just came to the bank to deposit someone's cash to close that they brought. They brought a cashier's check, so I'm doing that. I'm heading back to the office to finalize a few things, and then I'll be heading to FedEx to send off some packages to the lenders. And then that'll be it for today. So it was a pretty busy day, full of consults and closings, but it was really great. Everything went pretty smoothly. Everybody got what they needed to get from me. Their questions were answered. Everything went really well. I'm really thankful for today. I couldn't have asked for a better day. Good morning, y'all. Happy Tuesday. I just parked on the parking deck at the office. I stopped by the post office first to drop off some documents. I feel like I live at the post office. I go a couple times a week. I'm just gonna head into the office, answer a few emails that came in last night and this morning, and then work on some marketing for the firm and some more files that have come in. So I'll update you later. Bye. Hey everyone, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Today is busy, but it's a good busy. I have 4 consultations. I already did 3. I had to follow up with some clients on some cases because things happened Friday when we were like not really here. So I wanted to follow up today. And we had a long day yesterday too. I didn't leave here till like 7:15 last night. So, and then I was back at like 9 something. So it's just been a long day, but I've had 3 consults. I was supposed to have another one, but that person rescheduled for later, which is great because honestly, I don't know if I could have done it at this time. I'm just really tired. We have 1 after hours consult, which almost never, people usually don't go through with it. And so this person must really need help. So they'll have me and Alexia at 5, which is gonna be cool because we've never had an in-person after hours. Like we may have had people come sign documents after hours. I think that's how it's been, but we've never had a real consult when the building is closed and we're like shut down. So you have to have like special cards. How are they going to get to us? So we have to do that. The air is going to be off. It's going to be weird, but we'll get through it. But yeah, most of the people today were about divorce. I don't know what's going on, but everyone's asking about it. Probably some pandemic issues there, but that's mostly what I've been doing. And we have court tomorrow, so I'm trying to get prepared, check the bank accounts from our closings from yesterday to see if anything came out, which a couple things did, so that's good. What do you got going on, Alexia?
Yeah, so just following up on some emails I got last night and yesterday that was so busy, that I couldn't get to. And then this morning, and then following up with people who wanted to schedule consults with me, and people that I've been working with who are just checking in to see where we are. And then I also signed up for an LLC CLE, so just getting important updates to LLCs and getting good practice tips from other colleagues out across the nation through Wealth Council, which is a program that we use. And so they had a 2-day CLE on LLCs, and I missed yesterday because we were so busy, but I was trying to catch up on some of the things they were talking about today, so it's been interesting.
Yeah, sometimes I really like their CLEs. They're probably my favorite. That's probably where I've been getting all my hours from lately. But they have a lot, and we get our law clerks to watch them too sometimes and just report back if it's one we can't watch and we don't care about the credit. But a lot of times they'll email it to you too, maybe a few days later. So that helps, because I feel like I can't watch most of it live because it's always something happening, which is good, but sometimes you just like having that time to sit for an hour or two and really immerse yourself in a topic.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I did one last week after court. I caught like 45 minutes of it, and it was about divorces. And I was like, I actually learned something. I've been doing divorces for almost 2 years now, and I learned something new, which I'm probably going to try with 2 of these clients we had consultations with if they decide to hire us. So that's always cool.
Definitely.
What else do you plan to do today?
Today, I'm about to eat my lunch, and then I'm not sure. I think I want to work on marketing things. Just because we've gotten a little bit behind as I've gotten a little bit busier with the closings. It seems like the marketing is, second priority. So now that I have a little bit of time today, I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm sitting here starting to make tasks for people. So Sarah, she's on lunch right now, so she's not here, but our legal assistant intern, just to start picking up things. I gave her an assignment last week to work on Friday and yesterday. So Alexia's giving her some things to work on today, and I'm making her something now. So one of the things is we have a family law case in Wake County, the main county for North Carolina. That is where we do a lot of our cases. They actually have an online court calendar, so you can see all the cases that are going to be heard by which judge and what courtroom at what time. And it's really great with the pandemic because I don't want to go to the courthouse and stand there with a lot of people. I can just sign in online tomorrow to see what time the judge wants us in person, or if we can do the hearing online. The type of hearing it is, I would prefer if it's online, but our client's going to need a translator, so they're probably going to make us come in person. But also, one of the reasons we're giving Sarah some stuff to do, I want to get her to call some of the people on the list in front of us to see if we're going to actually have the hearing, because there are a lot of cases that I don't think are going to get continued, and it's in play, and there's an order for the day, so I don't think that we're going to get heard. So just trying to figure that out. And also, I don't want to call a lot of lawyers. It's weird, but I think it's good experience for her because as a paralegal or a legal assistant, these are things that you'll do. We've been called by legal assistants from other firms to do the same thing. So that's kind of where I didn't come up with this idea. That's where it came from. And I was like, why would you do that? But now I'm like, dang, that's going to be helpful because we need to call our client to prepare him for what tomorrow will look like, which is what we'll probably do after this video.
It can be scary, so we gave her some resources. We looked up some resources that might help her, feel more comfortable in how to do these types of tasks that she hasn't necessarily done before.
Yep. We always try to teach you before we just throw you into doing something. So even with the phone, so on the first day we trained her, and I know a real call came through, but you still get nervous when it happens. And I think after a while, it'll become more second nature. But even with us, we have to think sometimes, what button do I press to do this? So, just figuring out. But I think that's all I have.
Yeah, and then I'm just looking forward to one of our new law clerks is coming Thursday. So I'm kind of thinking ahead of what kind of things I can assign to her as she, dives in and getting to know the firm and how we do things here.
Yep, and I'm literally doing the same thing. So I just finally finished updating our schedules. So we have schedules set till the end of June. I'm happy because to me that's a big deal because we have clients, like one of the people from yesterday, I have an estate case. I have to have multiple people here. So I'm just trying to get an idea so I can update my calendar. So when clients want to schedule for estate signings, I know that I have 2 people here on certain days. So I'm happy that when I went through my calendar, I could see that, oh, I already put 2 people on next Friday. So that's great. That's the day that she'll come because then I'll have my 2 people and they each get experience seeing what happens during the estate process. For estate planning. So these are the things that we're working on, just getting them in the systems and everything and start assigning tasks for them to work on.
And that's good too because we might be out a couple days in July, so it's good to be thinking about who's going to be here during that time and how we can handle, our absence.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to possibly not being here for a while because your girl's tired. But it's like that. Everybody's tired. Everybody's dealing with a lot with the pandemic. But I think that's good to know that you have people that you can trust. And I know it's going to be like a high bar for everyone because our groups from the past year have been so great. And we actually had moments when neither of us are in the office. And they kind of just ran everything. They called us when they needed to. They sent us everything, and there were no issues. And I think that we did good with picking our candidates to come here. And so we always put in the back of our mind, if Alexia and I can't be here that day, or maybe for 2 days, will everything be okay? Can they call us? So I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, and I don't know, I've been thinking that it might be good to get someone who's going to be working with us for a while to get their notary license.
Yes.
That way if somebody stops by just to, sign a complaint or something, and Anjanae's in a console and I'm otherwise occupied. It happened yesterday. It usually doesn't happen when we're both in a different console at the same time, but it did happen yesterday. So I was doing a closing, you were with the client,
That's right.
And so if another client had stopped by to sign their complaint, there would have been no one to notarize it. So I've been thinking that maybe we should get someone.
Yeah, I really like that. I know in the past a couple of our people have asked like, hey, is this something we should do? But now as Alexia says it, I'm like, you're right. I think we should. One of our people is going to be here for several months, so we might try to get her signed up for a class. I think that's great. I think that's great.
And the thing is, I hesitated too because they're almost about to graduate in a year, and then once you take the bar and you get licensed, then it's really easy to get your notary. But it might be worthwhile for them to have it, during that year before or year and a half before they get to that point.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. See, she's thinking, like we thought about it, but we're like, oh, it's not that serious. If it's just going to be a year gap, we'll try to be here. But now, as we're both busy, like right now, we just really do need that extra hand. So I think that's great. So far, it's been working because of the pandemic. You can just sign an affirmation instead of notarizing a lot of documents. But what if someone messed up on their power of attorney? You do have to have that notarized. You can't have an affirmation page. So it would be great to have someone here because that has happened where someone just something minor, but we caught it and they had to wait for me to get here because the person came early. So that would be cool.
That's something to think about.
Well, we'll talk to you all later.
Bye.
Hi, happy Wednesday. Today is a little different because we have court this afternoon and both of us will be there. It's kind of interesting. Today we've kind of I got here about 8:30 this morning to prepare for the calendar call because when it's on WebEx they want you to sign in 15 minutes early. So I wanted to prepare myself and then be able to sign in and make sure everything worked because sometimes WebEx doesn't like me. So I signed in. Calendar call lasted from like 9 to 9:35, and during that, the judge told us to come back at 3 because we need to get an interpreter for our really both parties, but our client needs an interpreter, and that wasn't made aware to the court. not our fault, before today. So now I'm just kind of going over the documents. Like I said, it's going to be short. It's maybe an hour. I hope it takes less time. It's a show cause hearing, and so for a show cause, that just means you have to literally come to court and show good cause for why you didn't comply with something, or you have to show that you did comply, but maybe it was just a misunderstanding, which I think is more of an issue in this case. And show causes can be in almost any type of case, but this one is in a family law case. So right now I'm just printing things, making sure we have everything we need. Alexia has something to do directly after court, so I want to make sure that when we leave, we're good and we don't have to come back to the office. So our client is going to meet us in like 25 minutes to just kind of get him prepared, not to tell him what to say, but to make sure that we're all in the same agreement as we were last week. I think that's pretty much it. Just did some stuff, checked on some of the real estate closings we had over the past few weeks to make sure, because I saw some things cleared our account, so I just want to make sure everything lined up. And I know, Alexia, you had something you had to do today too, right?
Yeah, I recorded an affidavit. What else did I do? Oh, a couple of people reached out wanting consultations, so I got back with them to set those up, and then I think I followed up with the client as well. And then we closed out a file today for somebody whose case got resolved last week, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, that's great. I love stuff like that, and especially when the clients are happy about it. I can't wait. This case for today, we're doing a limited appearance, which attorneys can do, which means you're just representing a person for a very specific, limited purpose. So for us, we're only representing this person for today. After today, the case is technically closed. Depending on what the judge is going to want. We didn't file the case, so we shouldn't have to do anything after today, besides maybe read the order when the judge makes his decision. But other than that, we should be done. And I like closing out cases. It's something about it. It's like, it's a new chapter, fresh start for everybody. So that'll be kind of cool. Yeah, but it's pretty, it's a light day in a way, but at the same time we have a lot going on. We had an after hours consult last night, and we've spoken to that person several times today, and they're supposed to come tomorrow because they hired us for not one but 2 issues. So we have court Monday for them, and then we have to get some documents filed later this week, early next week, and they're going to come tomorrow to go over those things as well. So things are really moving fast. I know we talked before, we like our cases to move kind of fast to just get them started and get them there. And it also lets people see the value in what they're hiring you for, to see that, okay, I'm doing what needs to be done and that we're actually caring about their issues.
And then also, Ajane and I were talking yesterday about what some of our incoming interns are going to be doing. And so we made a list of all the projects we want them to work on, and then we said we wanted more things for them to do, and then boom, we got more things for them to do today. So that'll be nice. And we also talked about kind of the next steps for us and our firm and what we're working towards. So that's always nice to, be in touch with what you're working towards and being on the same page. So that was nice too.
Yeah, it feels good. We have Sydney starting tomorrow. She is at Campbell Law School. You'll meet her. We'll let you meet her.
If she wants to be on video.
If she wants to, but we'll still probably talk about her. She might be in the background one day. But she starts tomorrow. I have a calendar call in the morning for a case that's settled, but I don't think the court realizes that it's settled, even though we turned the things in. So I sign in when this happens. This has happened in another case last year, but because of the pandemic, things were like mixed up with the courts, with people working remotely and being in person. So I'm going to sign on just to make sure the court knows that we did everything and it's settled. It's kind of interesting, but I know that that'll be a case for them. So when that's done, we'll have Sydney come in, train, and she'll get to just see probably a few things tomorrow.
I have a consult tomorrow, so she'll probably...
Oh yeah.
What time does she come in?
She's here till 5, and your consult's at 4:30.
Oh, I have 2 consults tomorrow.
Sorry.
I have one at 11 and one at 4:30.
Oh, perfect.
So she'll be able to see
both.
sit in on that. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I just actually got her digitally onboarded with all the stuff. So that way tomorrow morning I'm not scrambling. I don't like doing that. But I went ahead, a whole 24 hours ahead, got her signed up for everything. So when she comes in tomorrow, she's going to just slide in and fit right in, and just get ready to learn all of the world of SD.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then on Monday we have someone else starting, and he'll be here all day. So he will get to go to court with us if that's something we end up, having to physically go there. And then after that, he'll train too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all for now. I know we have a guy on the way, and I'm going to try to call the court one more time. The clerks are kind of backed up. You got to be patient with them. But I'm going to try to get back on hold and see what we can do. Bye. We just got back. I know we talked to you earlier today. It's like 7:20, and we're still here. But it's good. We had court. The client came in right after we spoke to you all last, so we went over everything with him. He gave us some new information that was actually helpful, and I used it at the hearing. We separated and met him at court. When we got to court, we just pretty much started setting up. Well, we find out that the other party cursed my client out when we first got there. So when they were coming in the building, he said hello, and she just like cursed him out, and then he told me about it. So of course I brought it up, and that didn't look well. And then she had like done all this weird stuff, filing false police reports in the past. Then we get to trial. The other attorney was asking questions that were so irrelevant, and it was just really confusing. And the judge was confused. Everybody was confused. I let her just do it so she could waste her time. Her own time, because we each only had like 35 minutes. It should have been 30 minutes each side, but because there were interpreters, they gave a little more time. But the judge asked the other attorney questions. This is for any lawyer, law student, or anyone looking, or even if you're just a person who may go to court and represent yourself, which you're free to do. If a judge asks you a question, especially if it's yes or no, answer the question yes or no and tell the truth. That is why they ultimately lost. The judge asked when we first got there, as soon as the attorneys were on record, he said, let me just go ahead because I see what kind of case this is. Did my client do any of the things that are necessary to avoid being here? The other attorney said for like 5 minutes she just kept talking, and none of it related to the answer. And then the judge had to straight up ask her, are you going to answer me, or are you trying to just avoid answering me? And she still didn't give a good answer. And then he was like, you know what, we're going to just have this hearing. And I was like, I think he's made his decision now. And then as the hearing went on, she like made some objections, but she asked for something in the motion. So I was trying to make sure I addressed it, but the judge let her objections sustained her objections, which means she was able. I couldn't ask the questions, but I think after I had asked and we put it on the record, the judge realized what I was doing, but it didn't matter because I think the judge was saying it wasn't going to help her. It wasn't going to hurt me because he wasn't going to give her what she wanted. They spent their whole time talking about stuff that did not have anything to do with it. It was just very confusing. And the judge even said all the evidence they used was inadmissible. Once again, I tried to let them just use up their time because I could tell they didn't know what they were doing. And they've been practicing much longer than we have. And it was just a lot of hostility. And I think the judge could see that even after court, he said something to the parties about them just being so angry and hostile with each other and how it didn't help. Because now both people had to pay money to come to court when they probably could have worked it out. Judge was upset with us, the attorneys, and I'm being just candid because he was mad about it, because he's like, well, why didn't y'all work this out? Because you both knew there was no reason to come to court today. But I tried. I emailed the other attorney last week and I was like, hey, the issue doesn't exist anymore, but she wouldn't respond to me. Well, she did, but it was rude because she didn't read what I sent her. And then I replied to just say, hey, I just told you. So I just say this to say, if people make mistakes, but once you try to remedy it, you are supposed to give people a chance to continue to do right versus assuming they're going to do wrong. The judge just gave us what we wanted, every single thing we wanted. And I think our client's very happy. He's even asked us about other issues to possibly help him. So I hope he calls back. But we love our clients, but it wasn't necessarily the easiest situation. But I'm happy that we got a good result. And Alexia got to be there. And she doesn't get to be there that much for our cases. Really just like one of ours that's a real big case, a lot of evidence and stuff she comes for. But most of my trials, I've had a lot, she can't come. So I was very happy that Alexia came.
Yeah, it was great. I loved watching. I get a lot out of watching, even though I'm not a litigator and I have no desire to be a litigator. I get a lot out of watching it and seeing the different styles, you know, that people use when presenting their arguments and when, you know, doing cross and direct. But shout out to the judge. He was very fair, you know, very fair, very patient.
Very patient.
Extremely patient because the trial could have just been not necessary if opposing counsel had answered the question the judge posed them at the beginning of the session. And I think if it would have been me, I would not have had the hearing, you know. I would have just made them answer the question. Because, I mean, it was good, right? Because Ajane put on good arguments and everything, so it was good to see, but it was not necessary, you know, to be spending these people's money and time. And I enjoyed being there, and I enjoyed being a part of it. But I did miss a networking event I was supposed to go to, but that's okay. There will be more in the future, I hope. But yeah, I'm just glad I got to go. And shout out to the interpreter. He did an amazing job. He was also very patient.
He did. Because a lot of the stuff was really confusing. So, interpreters, if you're a person and you think the other side needs an interpreter, be polite and just be, what's the word they want us to use?
Proactive.
Like proactive and even courteous. And like fair, there's certain things in court that you can prejudice a person. So if I sue, I would never do it. But if Alexia and I sued Alexia, and let's say she didn't speak English or English wasn't her first language, I would get an interpreter because I know, I feel some type of way or I'm mad at her, but it's not fair to her to be there. And so that was one of the issues I think the judge was mad about coming in. And he had mentioned it was like, you knew this man didn't speak any English and you decided not to say anything. And then her client got to use the interpreter, and the judge was like, seriously?
Because she didn't ask for it as an accommodation, even for her own client. And I think a large part of the issue here was the language barrier, you know, for at least on our client's part. A lot of the issue stemmed around, I think, a language barrier and not really understanding, you know, these are the things I need to do. And like, okay, there's a roadblock called COVID-19. How do I get around this? And just not getting the information, I think, in a way that he can easily process because of the language barrier. And even when this case came around, I don't think he really understood the consequences of it because, again, the paperwork was all in English. And it wasn't until I think he came to us and we were finally able to explain, look, this is what's going on, this is what it means, and this is what it could be if things go this way or if things go this way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And honestly, I think the judge, who was very, very fair, I think he started to see that, like, okay, it's not that this man is just mean and is cold-hearted. It does seem like there's issues. He's telling you what type of job he has, the hours he works. He's telling you, like, where he may have to be and why his phone wouldn't work. He's telling you why he couldn't get voicemails or whatever, you know, why things couldn't work. And it seems very understandable, lack of internet access, things like that. And I think the judge was starting to put it together. Okay, we see what it is. He came to us and we broke it down to him as to what was the issue. And I will say, I told Alexia this, and I'm kind of proud of myself a little bit because she didn't sit at the table with us. COVID, they try not to have that many people, so she had to sit behind us. So I couldn't turn around to her every time I needed to ask the client something. So I had to use my Spanish skills a lot today, and he and I were able to communicate back and forth in court on paper. So I'll write the question in Spanish, and he would respond in Spanish. just during trial. And so I will say that's probably the best thing for today.
Yeah, it was great.
I haven't had to do it in a while, and I was so nervous going into today that me and him wouldn't be able to communicate effectively, because the other side, while we were talking, I could hear them talking because they were loud while I was asking my client questions. So that means the microphone probably picked them up too, having a privileged conversation during court. But I don't like doing that. I don't like to whisper to my clients during court. So I'm like, well, at least I know I'm pretty decent writing Spanish. And so he completely understood. And then the judge gave us a recess, and I just relayed to Alexia what my notes said to make sure the client understood everything I was sending him in notes. And we were good. So I don't know. To me, that was one of the highlights, because I always get very nervous when I have to speak in Spanish in a professional setting.
I think this case was great. I think we all made a great team. I think this was really a good, also like a good, I don't know, insight into like what these family law cases are, not just like the legal side, but like what goes on outside to like get to this issue, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, access to internet and access to like materials in the language you can understand, and how patient people are willing to be with you to explain things, you know, so that you're not getting in trouble. So I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, no, I agree, because when he came, he gave us this lady's phone number and email. And so I called. He's like, this is the people that every time I go to the place, they tell me to call this person and use this email. So I called the person the day he hired us, and it was all in English, and she didn't answer, and even her voicemail was in English. So if he called, he probably didn't know what she was talking about on the voicemail, and her voicemail said to email her. So I emailed her and said I was representing him, and then her response immediately was, he doesn't speak any English, and so it's hard to get to him, but we have a person who speaks Spanish who can help. And they connected like that same day, and everything's been fine. And
he did everything he needed to do. He just needed someone to talk to him in a way that he could understand, which I think a lot of us could relate to.
Yes.
Because we all have other things going on, and sometimes we just need someone to break it down, whether it's in a different language or just in a different phrasing, you know, that we can understand and digest.
Yes, because I could tell he was just very confused. Everybody was, I think that was the main thing, was confusion. I was confused. We both laughed at a couple times we probably shouldn't have. And I was like, what is happening here? And the judge just looked so upset. And I was like, I'm sorry. It's not me, it's them. But I think that it was a good hearing overall. And I'm very happy for him to have. I would say, I think these are good results. I mean, no one went to jail. No one lost their kid. Those are always good days here.
Was fined.
Correct. There was no issues. No one got detained. We're good to go. But I do think that he wants to be a great dad. As for the other side, I don't know about that. In my opinion, still feel like there's some ulterior motives there, but...
Yeah, and then there were some things that didn't quite check out until today, and then we got to confirm. Like, for example, the voicemails, I just wasn't on board with, like, how you can't set up a voicemail, and then I tried to set it up for him, and it wouldn't work. So then I was like, okay, this makes sense now. This man has been trying. It's not like, you know, he was just like, oh, I don't want to have a voicemail. It was like, actually, I can't. Unless I want to get a new phone, and not everybody's in a position.
But it was just really interesting, because Alexia said the same thing to me. I never believed this voicemail stuff. And so I say that because also, if you're an attorney or you're a client, be honest with people. Because we asked him, we're like, set it up today when we talked to him. And I said, I'm going to call you and check. And when we called, he answered the first time I called him, but then when I called him again, there was no voicemail. And we were mad.
We were upset because we're trying to help you, so help us help you by, you know, making the process easier. We like to work with people, you know, with people who are willing to put in the work for us to get them the results that they, you know, want or deserve. But if you don't, it's hard for us to be able to do everything fully if you're not complying. So we were upset, you know, when the voicemail said, this person doesn't have a voicemail, you can't leave a message. But then today it actually turned out that no, you can't physically, or I guess in any kind of way, set up a voicemail on that phone.
Tried for like 20 minutes.
I did.
It was distracting me. I'm trying to talk to him and ask him questions, and they're over here going back and forth trying to figure it out. And even the phone company said there's nothing he can do besides start over. But I also think what was hurting the other side is that the other side wasn't like forthcoming with her attorney. So some of the stuff I brought up, she just seemed really surprised by. So
see, I think that's a really important conversation to have with your clients. We all want to think that, you know, our clients are going to be amazing, but you have to be honest and have that conversation and build that trust where they tell you everything, even if they don't necessarily think it's relevant to the case, so that you're not blindsided later on.
Yeah, we try to tell our people, tell us stuff that you even think that we're not going to like. Like, for instance, if you're married and you have been cheating on your spouse, just go on and tell us. Because I don't want to find out later that they had a private investigator and they caught you.
I know it can be hard to talk about that kind of thing, but that it is important. You know, it is important to know, because we don't want court to be the first time we're hearing about something that could really hurt your case and hurt you.
Yeah, because I was just thinking from the other attorney's side, this is kind of like a reaction video at this point, but from the other attorney's side, I was like, dang, had I known that, man, this is how I would have flipped it. I was thinking I probably could have won on their side.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, man,
like, if I would have said these things or done it this way, I think that they could have won. But see, it's all in how you do things, and I think too, her attorney being dismissive of me reaching out, and I don't know if it's a generational thing
or a language barrier.
I was just about to say, or a language barrier, because that attorney speaks like 5 languages, and English is not her first language, which is not a problem because I love that. That means she's able to help more people.
Yeah,
and that's a great thing. But I don't know if it was cultural, language, generational, or what. She just was very dismissive to me and didn't read my email, which I printed a copy of just to make sure, so the court knows that I gave it. Because she even tried to act like I didn't give her a phone number, but I'm like, they just admitted that they had the phone number. How did they get it if I didn't give it to you? And so I had to say the number I gave you, and she was like, oh yeah, but can you give it to me again? So I'm like, you know, just stuff like that. You know, it's not every. It is, how do you say, like in law school, some professors will tell you this is an adversarial system, but you don't have to be adversaries. And so Smith Dominguez always tries to work with people. That's why we meet people where they are. And that means opposing counsels and opposing parties too. Like, we're not trying to like kill you or anything. We don't do those kind of cases where we would even need to be in that kind of way. It's not personal. Here, we're just trying to do his best. And the judge really kept bringing up judicial economy, which means the court's resources. They had to use the judge, 2 deputies had to be there, the clerk, and an interpreter had to be there. And we stayed past 5 o'clock because the judge had to do an order, because I don't think he trusted the other side to write it. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think he trusted her, because I've always had to write my own, or the other side had to write it when we had court like this. So that's my thought, is that, you know, judicial economy, think about how much our money that we just wasted by being there for something that really should have been resolved last week when I sent you an email.
You could have solved it with an agreement, or at the beginning of the hearing, you could have just been honest and forthcoming, and we could have been out of there, you know. But
my car almost got towed. I was 45 minutes over my time because I got a text saying your stuff expired X amount of time ago. Remember, we didn't get tickets. Did you get a ticket?
No, I didn't.
Okay, see,
I was only like 15 minutes over. Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. See, it worked out for us because we was.
But if anybody from the city we live in is watching, we were not over.
Well, we were not over. I don't know what they're talking about. I was just saying somebody made that up. It was if it was to happen. Yeah. You know.
But
it'd be like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but we've been encountering a lot of people in the family law sector who have been practicing a lot, who just seem to not be willing to work with the attorneys. And I don't know if it's because we're newer, or if it's just because they work so long and they're confident that, you know, that things are going to go their way. But I think this is just a warning for everyone, including us, to not get too set in your ways and not to get too confident, to put your client's best interests at top of mind always. And that could mean, you know, trying to work out a settlement with somebody else instead of going to court.
Yeah. Like, I think Alexia really just killed that. Every single case where the attorney's been of a different generation or whatever, there's been some kind of issue along this, and then we go to court and the judge is like, why didn't y'all just do this? And I'm like, that was what I said. But I get it. Maybe this is set in their way, but things are moving to a more collaborative approach. And Alexia and I are all for that.
But I don't know if it's just family law in general, because even with my real estate cases, a lot of the
my business case,
more
too.
established people, and it's agents, it's lenders, it's not just, you know, somebody in a certain profession, but a lot of them speak to you in a way that doesn't indicate that they are very collaborative, which it should be a very collaborative process in real estate, because we're all working towards the same end goal, which is getting the buyer their home, you know,
and everybody getting paid.
Yeah, so even there, sometimes it's you know, there's a lot of gaslighting, there's a lot of people, you know, talking to you like you don't know what you're doing, or telling you that you're doing things wrong, or not sending them, and it's like, no, I am, I have my receipts, so always keep your receipts.
Yes. That's why I printed those emails. It was like, in a perfect world, I wouldn't even need to print these emails. But the last 2 attorneys around the same generation, I've had to do it because it actually helped me. But yeah, it wasn't even just family law. I had a business case that was where I needed like a demand letter and things like that. We were going to go to a trial over it. It took until the night before court, like literally like 4:50, to get this guy to settle. And he like told y'all.
I remember that. Yeah.
That guy, he tried it. He said on the phone, I don't know if it's because you're new or you're young or what, but you don't know what you're talking about. He told me to hang up and call him later when I got my facts together. This man called me at 7 p.m. I only answered because I thought it might have been a client that was having an emergency. He called me and said all that and then hung up on me. So, of course, I was out. I was ready for war at that point, and then he ended up having to pay. So, see, that's how it works, because his client didn't tell him everything. So, you know, these people are out here bold. They're big bold. But then... Everywhere.
In every sector.
Everywhere. Every setting. I'm like, sir, I get it for his case, because he represents a business. We represented a consumer. But I'm like, you're going to get paid no matter whether you win or lose. But I'm like, God dog, why are you coming at me like this? And you don't know me. You don't know me. But he did pay.
All I know is that when that happens, Audrey's going to crush them in court.
Every time.
And as for me, I'm not going to rock the boat until I get where I want to be. And once I'm there,
I want all the smoke.
You can't tell me anything.
I want all the smoke. Don't do that to her, but I want it. So if you want to do that to me, then I'm just going to let you look stupid. So we got to see how this new case that I have, that's going to have a established attorney. Like, that whole established thing, too, just gets to me. I'm like, what is established? We've been doing this almost 2 years. Is that established? People know us. People call us looking out for us. We get a hit up every day. I'm like, we're not even running paid ads right now, which is cool. We're going to, but...
And we're busy.
Very busy.
We got, 4 consults tomorrow that were booked between last night and today. Like, we stay busy. So it's not we're like some new attorneys that don't know what they're doing, but some people want to treat us that way. But that's fine.
I knew that we were doing well when I went to court a few months ago. And before this was like February. Before I started talking, the judge said... Oh, Attorney Smith is a great attorney, so I'm pretty sure if you would have just spoke to her, XYZ, and I was like, you know that about me? And, like, that made me feel some type of way, because I'm like, I don't even know when he watched me, because I hadn't had court in front of him, but I'm like, when did he see me, or when did he hear about me, because he said my name right and everything, and I'm like, we have never, ever met. Now I've had a case in front of him and things, and he's just been nice. He's like, oh, Attorney Smith, when I walked in, and then the judge today said my first name right. And, like, to me, that just means that they're paying attention. And obviously, we're doing something well. And, I mean, come on. Like, that's just cool to me.
I think we stand out anyway.
We do.
Be that for any reason it may be, but...
Yeah, I'm like, just know, Smith Dominguez, we're great. Look, we represent moms and dads here. We represent the parents who are showing that they do care about their kids' best interests. Because we can be selective. We don't work at giant firms. Our big firm does big things, so we say around here, which is true. Yeah, sorry. Our small firm does big things. Y'all know what I mean. We're tired. But, yeah, same thing. We're big on the inside. We're big on love and big on competency, I think. And so, I just say, like, we do really big things around here, and we take cases and we're selective when we think that people are doing right. Some people just take stuff that comes through. Sometimes people are wrong. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be represented, but sometimes they're wrong, and you have to be honest with them up front. Hey, you're wrong, or I don't think that you're quite getting it. We do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I think that you have to be able to build that trust with your client and be like, okay, things might not go how you want, right? And you have to understand that before we move on. A lot of people don't take the time to tell the potential client or the client that, and then that's when the problems begin, because the client is expecting one thing and then there's no way you can deliver on that.
We had a client we've had him for a while, but one of the things that he wanted, I told him from day one, this may not go how you want it to go. Honestly, it probably won't. And then, as I expected, this happened. And when I called him, I was like, oh man, I don't want to tell him. I know I have a duty, because we did have a duty. I was like, I had to tell him about this and all this. But when I called him, he was like, okay, you told me this was going to happen. I didn't even have to say, oh, I told you before. He was like, you did tell me this might happen. So I'm prepared. I've been thinking about it. And this is what I want to do next. You know, give people that option.
And I feel like it even built more trust between you and the client, because you had laid out all the options before and prepared him, and so now he trusts you, you know, to always be forthcoming with him.
I appreciate that. Thanks for picking me up. Yeah. But no, that's what we do. You just have to, look, you mess up, you tell people. Or if you think that there could be a problem, you tell them. Like, also I like people to be prepared if they're going to have to spend extra money, because, I get it. That could be a problem. Yeah, it's hard out here in these streets. But, I think that's all for tonight. We held y'all, but maybe we should start a podcast, because these videos are getting longer and longer.
I think we should. That way we can talk about, like, celebrity divorces and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. And then, like, these whole, like, A-Rod and Jennifer and Bennifer again. I don't know how I feel about that.
And then also I saw in the news something about Johnny Depp and, what's that lady's name? Amber Heard.
They came back together?
No, they they had their London trial for
the domestic violence and stuff.
Yeah, and then it turns out that now there's like new evidence or something that's come to light, where they had the body cam images from the police officers that responded that night, and it turns out she lied, or she allegedly gave a false statement in court. And now they're able to prove that she lied about certain things.
And then that messes up your credibility, because that happened in our case. A false report was filed, the case from today. And I think once I said that, the judge was just done with the lady. Can't be filing false reports.
Yeah, and so now she might, there's an investigation. She could face up to 4 years in prison.
Got to be better than that.
We should make a podcast and talk about stuff like this.
Well, if y'all think we should, leave some comments. I mean, I know we're building our following, so it may not be anybody right now. But
in the future,
if you think we should, let us know.
Hi everyone, happy
Thursday. It's been one of those weeks, right? Today is more chill and laid back for us than normal, but it's great. I finally got to dress down. I haven't dressed down in a few weeks. Y'all probably have noticed that. I have one person coming just to sign documents, and that's at 5. Once he signs, I'm out. I promise. We have a new person started, Sydney. We sent her to the post office to let her see what it really feels like, because that's mostly what you do at a law firm. We live there. Y'all know that. Y'all have been there. So we're training her. She is a rising 2L at Campbell Law School, our alma mater for law school. And she is interested in real estate and transactional work, but she has a little interest in family law. So she's really getting to see it. She's going to work with me mostly for the first 6 weeks of the summer. Then we're going to transition to having her work primarily with Alexia. She is professionally proficient in Spanish, so that'll be helpful, because she can kind of get some of those quicker phone calls out the way that, oh, it's something we don't do. She can let them know that we don't do that and give them a referral. So that'll be cool. It probably would save us so much time. And us, like, I'll edit an engagement letter. I can have her do it, because I'm sitting there like, that doesn't sound quite right. Let me read it. She can do that, and then we can review it and make sure it flows. So I think that this would be great to have like an extra person who can do that. And of course, I talked about me not being very comfortable, and I know she's probably not, but she has a degree in it, and she's closer to it than I was trying to come back from it. So I think that would be great. But she seems to like us so far.
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's nice having people in the office. She seems really sweet. So.
Yeah, she's been here for about 4 hours. So she's gotten a tour. I didn't put her on the spot because Alexia had consults when she first got here, so I was kind of going to film some of the training, but I know we just give so much information on day one. We don't expect people to retain it, but we want them to have some kind of idea, so then they're like, oh, I remember them saying that at some point. But we're walking through things. We walk through just looking at clients' cases and our case management system, and we let her learn while doing. So I think that's great. She already called us for help once since we sent her on her way, but I'm happy. I think it's going well so far.
I think so too. And we have a new person coming on Monday, so that'll be good to see also how they interact. We're having a lunch and learn next week where they'll get to meet, and we'll go over cybersecurity.
Yes, one of our commenters mentioned that we need to meal prep and that we eat out a lot. Well, we will have food that day because it's a lunch and learn. So I'm sorry, commenter.
We're also having lunch today. We did not meal prep.
No.
Maybe in a future week.
I did have food. I just forgot it. So it happens.
My food was not good today. So
you know, it's not on purpose. We try. We tried, and that's all that we could say. We put a good foot forward. But no, I'm excited to see how things go. We've just been swamped, and it's so crazy to go from having no one or very little limited staff to now knowing, okay, we got this person and she's telling us she wants to work more and it's just day one. I don't know, so we will keep you posted on that. But she's like, oh, I can work more than what you gave me. We'll see. But it's really good to see that because at least that kind of tells us that she does like us and what she's seen so far, and
she's
we're not
motivated.
And we're not scaring her away. So one of the things with people, we always tell them, the first couple weeks we want you more in person, even if you have a remote day. So when our person Monday starts, I'm going to let him know because he has 2 remote days next week. I'm going to let him truly be remote one of those days, but the other day I'm going to have him here just in the pods so that he can come in and ask questions and things like that. And I also told Sydney, since she's just starting, I think she has a day where she can be remote next week or the week after. And so I told her, come here, work in the pods your first couple times, and then when you feel like you know what you're doing, be free. So I think that that's pretty good. Alexia has consults. What kind of consults did you have today, and do you have? That's interesting.
I had a business consult this morning, so that went well. I have a trademark consult in about half an hour, so I have to almost run out and go get our food and then get ready for the consult. And then I was supposed to have a real estate consult today, but the lady called to reschedule, so we'll keep you posted.
Again.
Yeah, this is the second time she's scheduled, so we'll see if she actually ever makes it to the office. And then I'm also in the process of setting up another consultation for another real estate question. It's not a closing, it's just a real estate matter. So that's exciting.
Yeah, this is all good, all in a good day's work. We're not as erratic as we were before, so we have a moment to like calm down. I'm looking at 1,000 emails that I've snoozed. I literally had 18 emails snoozed from the past week because I just haven't even read them. I was like, who is this from? Not an opposing counsel, not from a judge. All right, whatever. We're going to snooze it. So I want to go through, and guess what? Now we have people I can send them like, hey, you read this. Tell me what it is. We used to have our girl Kat. She did a lot of that for me, and she found so much information that was actually helpful for the firm by doing that. A lot of times we get emails that aren't junk, because I will unsubscribe real quick if I don't like it. But it's usually from places like malpractice carriers or CLE providers that we've used before. So it's information that is helpful to us. It's just that it's not pressing, or I just don't have time to read it. So I have like 20 emails I'm going to start assigning out to Sydney and Ash when he starts. So they have just a few things to do, and they're ready. We got plenty of work. We tell you, we have plenty. But all right, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Hey everyone, happy Friday. Just closing out the vlog. We didn't really vlog anything today. Sydney was in the office and she worked on some stuff. Then we had assigned her. Then we all watched this, I guess it was like a lunch and learn about branding yourself as an attorney. And Audrey had some client calls, and we just followed up with some emails. We set up some consults, and then we did the disbursement for our refinance that we had earlier this week. And I just came to the post office to overnight those documents, and now I am about to go home. I just wanted to close out the vlog, and we'll see you next week.